Good morning, everyone. My name is Noor Emily Hudametimom Sobri. Today, we are diving into a topic that serves the backbone of our nation, Malaysia Education Policy. Far beyond just a school rule, this policy are a strategic framework designed by the Ministry of Education to shape our country's future. By building human capital and fostering social unity, these laws and regulations guide everything from our curriculum standard to how we find and integrate technology in our classroom. Essentially, if you want to see where Malaysia is headed economically, we need to look at its education policy first. The defining roadmap for this journey is the Malaysia Education Blueprint 2030-2025. We are currently in the final stage of this ambitious 30-year plan, which aims to make our system globally competitive and inclusive. However, the world is moving fast. Globalization and rapid technology advancement mean that good grades are no longer enough. Our policy must now evolve to produce graduates who are not just book smart but are master of digital literacy, critical thinking, and soft skills that are required to survive in a modern, automated workforce.
Education plays a crucial role in shaping nation's future. However, Malaysia is still facing several challenges in achieving global education standards. The introduction of Malaysia Education Blueprint 2013 to 2025 was driven by major issues within the education system. This include the low student performance in international assessment, weak development critical thinking skill, and inequality in student outcome. These challenges reflect the deeper systemic weaknesses that require urgent and comprehensive policy intervention. I am Ashita, your presenter. Let's go deeper to the policy problem. One of the most serious concerns is Malaysia underperformance in the Program for International Student Assessment, which is PISA. PISA evaluates that student ability in reading, mathematics, and science with the OECD benchmark set at 500 points. However, Malaysia still scored below than this benchmark. For example, in 2012, Malaysia only scored 398 in reading. Although there are some improvement in 2018, but the performance still declined in 2022, which is the reading dropping to the 388 points. This trend indicates the persistent performance gap and highlight a sustain of progress. More importantly, it reflects a deeper structural weaknesses in the education system, suggesting that existing teaching and learning approaches are not effectively improving the student outcome. Another major issue is the weak development of critical thinking skill among the student. These skills such as critical thinking and problem solving are essential in today's global and competitive environment. However, Malaysia PISA performance suggests that students are still highly dependent on the memorization rather than understanding. This reflects an exam-oriented where students are trained to recall the information but not to applying knowledge in the real-life situation. As highlighted by the World Bank, education system must equip students with the 21st century skill to remain competitive. Without this skill, students may struggle to adapt to the future challenges, which can ultimately affect national productivity and economic development. In addition to performance issue, inequality in educational outcomes remain a major concern. Students in the rural and remote area face challenges to access the quality facility, experienced teachers, and digital infrastructure. Report from the UNESCO and OECD shows that the students from disadvantaged background consistently perform worse than their peers. This creates a widening achievement gaps and limit opportunity for social mobility. If not addressed, this inequality can lead to the long-term negative impact on national development. Furthermore, systematic in teaching and learning also contribute to this problem. Teachers often face a heavy workloads and administrative tasks, which can reduce their effectiveness in the classroom. At the same time, access to the technology is uneven, especially between the urban and rural areas. This digital divide becomes more visible during the online learning, where the students from lower income background face a greater difficulty. This issue highlights a gap between the policy intention and the actual implement. In conclusion, the Malaysian education system faces several interconnected challenges, including low international performance, weak critical thinking skill, inequality, and systemic implementation issue. Therefore, this challenge justifies the need for the comprehensive reform through the Malaysia Education Blueprint 2013 to 2025. Ultimately, improving education requires not only strong policy, but also effective implementation that benefit all students equally.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and hello everyone. So my name is Muhammad Danish Mustaqim bin Muhammad Ismail. You guys can call me Danish. So today I will be presenting on the policy objective of the education policy. So without further ado, let me take a look. In Malaysia, education policy mainly focusing on three main objectives, which are the first one, improving student outcomes, ensuring equal access to quality education, and last but not least, transforming the teaching profession. So, we take a look one by one. Firstly, one of the main objectives is to improve student outcomes. This includes enhancing students' academic performance, especially in core subjects such as mathematics, science, and literacy. At the same time, education policy also emphasizes the development of higher order thinking skills such as critical thinking, creativity, and problem solving. This is important because students today need more than just knowledge. They must also be able to think, adapt, and solve problems in real life situations. By focusing on both academic achievement and personal development, the education system can produce individuals who are more capable and better prepared for future challenges. So now, we move to the next objective, which is ensure equal access to quality education. It means that every student should have the same opportunity to receive good education regardless of their socio-economic background, location, or personal circumstances. In Malaysia, efforts are made to reduce educational inequality through financial assistance, improvement of school facilities, and the promotion of inclusive education. As a result, all students are given a fair chance to succeed and contribute to the society. This is important because education should be accessible to everyone, not only to the certain groups. Last but not least, education policy also aims to transform the teaching profession. Actually, teachers play a crucial role in delivering quality education. So, improving their skills and professionalism will be very important. This can be achieved through a better training, continuous professional development, and the use of modern teaching methods as well as digital technologies in the classroom. When teachers are well equipped and updated to the trend, they can create a more effective and engaging learning environment for the students, which will improve the overall quality of the education. To conclude here, education policy is essential in improving the education system by focusing on student outcomes, equal access, and the development of the teacher itself. It helps to create a better and more effective learning environment. This not only benefits individuals but also contributes to the overall development of the country. So that's all from me. The next presenter will continue the presentation.
Let's move on. Hi, my name is Wan Adazarifa binti Fauzi. Today I will be representing the strategies implemented under the Malaysia Education Blueprint 2013 to 2025. These initiatives were introduced by the Ministry of Education Malaysia themselves to improve education quality and also the student outcomes. First of all, the strategies were we have a curriculum reform through KSSR and also KSSM. These curricula emphasize higher order thinking skills or HOTS or as known as KBATs. Instead of memorizing facts, students are encouraged to analyze, to solve problems and also think creatively. For example, in subjects like science, maths, students may be asked to solve real-life problems instead of just recalling memories. This will help students become more critical and also an independent thinkers. Now for the second strategy, teacher quality improvement. So the ministry raised the entry requirement by selecting only top 30% of graduates to become teachers. In addition, the Institute of Teacher Education, which is as known as IPG, was upgraded with 40% of training focused on practical. This means teachers gain real classroom experience before teaching. As a result, students benefit from engaging, interactive, and effective lessons, such as making games for the students so they are more engaging with the teacher. Now let's move on to our third strategies, which is under the ICT integration, the One Restaurant initiative that enable access to digital tools and online learning platform, which is the Education Ministry himself provide us with 4G internet access. In real terms, students can watch instructional videos before classes, complete interactive quizzes, or also collaborate on shared documents. This is all through the 4G internet provided by the ministry. For instance, a group project may involve creating a digital presentation rather than just writing a standard essay in class. This is not only improve the understanding of the student, but also develops creativity in them and also making them digitally illiterate, which are essential in today's world's context. Now, let's move on to our final strategy. Finally, school-based management. This is our last strategy, which is school-based management, which allows school to adapt based on their specific student needs. For example, if a school with weaker performance in mathematics may allocate more time to introduce targeted intervention classes for the student. Through the district transformation program, underperforming school may receive direct coaching from more experienced educators. This will ensure that students in less advantaged schools, like in rural area, are not left behind and still receive quality instructions from the teachers. Okay, based on these four strategies, overall, these strategies move the education system from a rigid, exam-oriented approach to a more flexible and student-centered model. The key impact is that students are not only improving academically, but are also becoming more critical, cynical, creative, and also adaptable learners.
Hello everyone. For my part, I will explain the strategic strengths of Malaysia education policy. The first strength is improve access to education and equity. According to Sinasemi and Ermugum in 2023, one major strength of the Ministry of Education or KPM is ensuring that all children have access to education regardless of their socio-economic background. Malaysia has achieved a high school enrollment rate which have reduced the gap between students in urban and rural areas. This is important because education opportunities are not only focused in development cities, but also extended to the student in rural areas. In addition, KPM used data to identify schools with higher needs. Schools with limited resources receive additional fundings and better trained teachers. This helped create a more balanced and fair education system. The second strength is the focus on holistic education and higher order thinking skills, or HOTS. Malaysia has shifted from rote learning, which focus mainly on memorization, to more holistic learning approach. Students are now encouraged to think critically, solve problems, and apply knowledge in real-life situations. Besides academic achievement, students are also on leadership, ethics, and personal development. This is important because international assessments such as PISA measure student ability to apply knowledge or not just memorize facts. The third strength is the clear long-term roadmap through the Malaysia Education Blueprint from 2030 to 2025. This blueprint provides a structured 13-year plan and is benchmarked against international standards like PISA and TIMSS. It also allows Malaysia to compare its progress with successful countries such as Singapore and Finland. So, Malaysia education policy shows how strong strategic planning through equal access to education, focus on HOTS, and a clear long-term roadmap. Now, I will continue with the weakness of Malaysia education policy. The first weakness is implementation gap between policy and practice. Although KPM creates comprehensive and well-planned policies, there is an often gap between policy design and what actually happens in classroom. Many changes are introduced through a top-down approach, causing teachers to feel pressure and unprepared. As a result, some schools may focus on fulfilling administrative requirements rather than improving student learning. This issue is more challenging in rural areas where teachers may not receive enough training and resources. The second weakness is the persistent digital divide. Although Malaysia is moving towards digital learning, access to technology is still unequal. Students in urban are usually have better internet access, device, and digital tools. However, students in rural areas, especially in Sabah and Sarawak and any remote village, often face poor internet connection and lack of devices. This creates inequality between students and affect their learning opportunities. It also impacts international exams like PISA, which are on computer-based. The final weakness is increasing teacher workload and administrative burden. Policies such as school-based assessment or PBS have increased paperwork and data entry responsibilities. Teachers now spend a lot of time on completing reports instead of focusing on lesson preparation and student engagement. This can lead to stress, burnout, and reduced teaching quality. So, in conclusion, the main weaknesses of the policy are the implementation gap, digital divide, and heavy teacher
Hello,
workload.
so in this video, I will be explaining the several policy recommendations to improve Malaysia's education system. These recommendations are important because there are still some key issues such as the gap between policy and practice, the digital divide, and also the increasing workload of teachers. Although policies like the Malaysia Education Blueprint 2013-2025 have provided a strong foundation, improvements are still needed to ensure effective implementation in schools. We need to improve the teacher support. Many teachers in Malaysia are overloaded with administrative work such as data entry and paperwork, which reduces their focus on teaching. So the government should provide more support staff like administrative assistants and also reduce the non-teaching tasks to the teachers. This will allow teachers to focus more on the students and improve the quality of education. Right, so the second one is we need to strengthen the digital infrastructure. Not all schools in Malaysia have equal access to good internet and digital devices, especially in rural areas. So this creates a digital divide among the students. To solve this issue, the government should ensure stable internet access, provide enough devices, and also invest more in rural schools. So this will make the digital learning more fair and accessible for everyone. And lastly, continuous evaluation. Continuous evaluation is actually a lot more important and crucial because education policies should not stay the same forever. They need to be reviewed and improved based on the feedback from the teachers, from the students, and also from the schools. So by doing this continuous evaluation, policies can stay relevant and effective in solving current issues because they are always improving. So, in conclusion, improving teacher support, strengthening the digital infrastructure, enhancing monitoring systems, and also ensuring continuous evaluation are the key steps to improving Malaysia's education system. So, these efforts could actually at least help make sure that policies are not just well planned, but also successfully implemented in the real classrooms.
In conclusion, Malaysia Education Blueprint is an important step toward improving the nation's education system and strengthening its human capital. Although Malaysia has made progress, there are still major challenges in terms of quality and equity. Students continue to face difficulties in international assessment like Program for International Student Assessment (PISA) and trend in international mathematics and science study, the IMSS, and gaps between urban and rural education remain. To address this issue, the blueprint focuses on better data system, stronger policy evaluation, and collaboration with stakeholders. Overall, with strong commitment and continuous improvement, Malaysia can build a more effective and inclusive education system for the future.